So, Balatro has just released its latest balance patch, but it's not for everybody yet. It's still experimental, known as the experimental branch. For now, you can access it by opting into the Steam beta, the beta on Steam to be specific, and it'll be experimental underscore branch or something to that effect, public underscore experimental. We're gonna get into it, but we're not gonna be playing Balatro in this video. This video is gonna be a review of the balance changes, my thoughts on them before playing. I've already played 1 or 2 runs on the new patch and I'm loving it. A lot of the changes are very good on the surface. Some of the specific Joker ones I haven't been able to see yet. Of course, you don't control that kind of luck. I don't do seeded Balatro runs. It defeats the purpose of the game. So, without further ado, this was posted on the Balatro subreddit, pasted from the Balatro Discord. I'll do the subreddit read because, you know, I'm not going to screen share my Discord. That's just asking for trouble. Anyway. So, yeah, probably in about a week. So this was submitted 8th of April, a couple days ago. And yes, you can see my Reddit username, but I mean, well, you could have guessed that one, so I'm not really bothered with that. Okay, bug fix, reduced motion. Yeah, I mean, people have a bunch of issues with, you know, perception of stuff. It's fine. Okay, here we go. From here, I think is most actual balance changes. Changed default fallback tarot from full to strength when all tarots are on screen. Okay, I don't know what that means, and I assume it doesn't really matter, frankly. Change gold stake random seeds now ensure that the first Larian Joker on that seed is a Joker that you have not won with on gold stake. That's interesting. It's probably good. It actually... How do I say this? It actually makes it more likely to predict what you're gonna get, but I guess it doesn't matter if you can predict it, because it is still random, everything else. You might not even get a legendary Joker. Or is it guaranteed that you get one, but it's just like a matter of when or what? Something like that. Anyway, in any case, that's good for completionist hunting, but it's obviously going to be next to impossible to get that achievement for a long time. If someone's got it already, they've grinded far too long. And I wish they would have done so on this new update, because this new update is decidedly more comfortable. Getting gold stake, listen, I got gold stake on a deck before the update, you know, hashtag I was here, whatever, bullshit. Anyway, on to the actual balance changes. Anti-scaling has been reduced, the early stages have been reduced a bit in white stake, green stake and purple stake. Now green stake and purple stake are of course the later game, you know, added difficulties that make scaling a little bit more difficult. So just a matchup anti to anti. Now, upping the anti difficulty goes 2000, 2400, and 3000 on anti 3, for example. So, it's just a slight reduction in difficulty curve. I didn't think this was necessary, but I don't mind it at the end of the day. Because it seems like they're just making the ramp up more obvious, because they're not reducing the later antis. They're just making it... Because the thing that does kill me about some Balatro runs is that you feel like you're almost there, and you just need a couple more, you know, rounds to get this underway. A couple more attempts at the shop, a couple, you know, your deck is almost the right amount. You know, if you go DNA early, you still want to try and build your perfect combo, but you can't lose, right? Especially in green and purple stake, you find yourself very often, you know, playing not to get eliminated early, but then you can't build your deck for like the insane difficulties of the later game. So I think this is a good change overall, but people are obviously going to complain, oh, it was easier now. Yeah, whatever. The later game's too hard, and that's what you need to clear it. Okay, orange stake. This I'm very thankful for. Increasing pack cost, which is the original difficulty, was that the pack cost of packs in the shop would increase per ante or per round. I forget which one, but effectively, you know what I mean. And it was absolutely horrible. Because it ruins the fun of opening packs and trying stuff out, and, you know, stuff being way more expensive without being, you know, it doesn't make the game more interactive in a difficult way. It doesn't mean that you can't plan around the packs being increasingly more expensive. All you can do is buy them when they're cheap, and then like you end up buying tarot packs for like $12 in the later game just to get one tarot card, because you're like, well, I need to modify my deck because I have Vampire, or I have the Fortune Teller Joker that scales based on it, and it just ruins certain game strategies in ways that don't... It's not like you can't counter that strategy. You're just screwed. So here's a it's a new mechanic. Perishable mechanic. It's like the Eternal sticker, but perishable, right? Jokers have a 30% chance that perishable sticker disabling them after 5 rounds. This basically means if it's got a perishable sticker, you can buy it, but it's not gonna last a long time. But it is after rounds, so you can use skips to make them last longer. For example, it adds tactical choice. You can think about it. If I buy this Joker, how many rounds will it be useful for me? Is my money better spent that way? That's a good change. This guy's a genius in balance changes already, by the way. I hate the glaze, but I don't hate the glaze. I love him. So the big W orange stick was definitely it was I don't want to say too hard. It was definitely doable. I mean, clearly people beat gold stake on decks before that, me included. So it's not like it was impossible. It was just uninteractive, and I think that's what needs to be changed the whole time. Same with gold stake. Mine's on hand size is just cruel. For example, it just means you need to rely so much more on luck. You know what I mean? Because you need to draw your perfect hand more often. If, for example, you already have less hand, less discard, and then you have less hand size, you're drawing like 7 or 6 cards. It depends on what deck you're trying to clear it on, you know. Or is it always 7? I think your default starting is 8, and then you go down to 7, and it ruins. For example, you can not justify buying a spectral pack that reduces your hand size, because then you're on like 6. And what hand are you going to get to play in that situation? You're just not going to get to play anything, or you already have less discards to get the hand that you want. It's not fun to do it without having a counterplay. And a rental sticker, new rental mechanic, I mean, you can read it here, but it basically means that the Jokers cost money while you have them. Which is very, very, you know, it doesn't seem too problematic. $3 every round. So you're not going to have every Joker have a rental sticker, obviously, because you can just not buy them if you don't buy it. So odds are you're probably only getting 1 or 2 that have this sticker in your, you know, active set of 5 to assume that way, right? So if we assume 2, which is a reasonable amount, it's going to cost $3 every round, $6 every round. So well, you would need to be farming your money up so that your interest is more than that, and then you can buy the right tarot cards to get your money up, etc., etc. This one's actually manageable, but I honestly think they could make it more difficult, because it is a gold stake. You know what I mean? I like the mechanic idea, but I think you can make him cost. You can make it $5 per round. I think you can do that, or you can make it that they can put you in debt and keep this low amount, because that means you need to have a good economical management, because if you don't, then you'll never be able to buy anything. But then that might be too unfair, you know, because then you can never get back up, because you can't build interest and cash out more, and you can't buy tarot cards to double your money because you're in the negatives. That may be a bad idea, but I think you can make this harder in some way. But I like the idea. We'll see. It's experimental, of course. Eternal to apply Jokers to buffoon packs. I mean, this felt like a loophole from the beginning. Like, it felt like a way around the principle of what's going on. So that seems fair. It's supposed to be a difficulty increase after all. First shop in every round now always includes normal buffoon pack. This seems exactly like the change people asked for. One of the worst possible things is in your first shop in Balatro is that you get like 2 useless tarot cards. You get like high card, planet card, and then you get, for example, convert to clubs, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll play a club flush next time, and then you get no Jokers. You obviously can't afford the voucher in the first shop, and then you get like 2 card packs, which are very useless in the early game before you can really build around something. So it felt like too much to make it guarantee that you get a Joker in the shop, because sometimes you may want tarot cards instead. But I think one guaranteed thing to prevent an outrage of bad luck every time, because otherwise you're just restarting every time, right? You don't want to. You feel tilted if you're queuing into a new run of Balatro, you get into your first shop, and then you don't even get a Joker, and then you're just, especially if you do a big skip, for example. If you're skipping in the hopes that you get a Joker, and then you don't get a Joker, and then you have to go on to the next stake, which is more difficult, and you didn't get the Joker, you didn't even get a chance to get a Joker, you feel robbed, you know what I mean? And they also fixed other stuff with tags in the future, which we'll talk about after this. Okay. So that's a great change, obviously. Upcoming blinds and tags can now be seen in the shop immediately after defeating a boss blind starts cashing out. That seems like exactly the kind of thing that you should do, because it's a shop before the next blind. It felt like exactly what you needed. Because how else are you supposed to plan, for example? Because what if you need to save your money to re-roll a boss blind, but you don't know what comes up, and so you spend all your money and then you don't know. Like, it felt like illogical that once you beat a boss blind, you don't know what the next boss is. It just makes sense from like a, when does your week start, Sunday, Monday situation, but I'm sure that's also a separate controversial thing in real life. Anyway. Some blinds are now banned on challenge runs. Yeah, this was just people on Reddit were just posting about, like, there was a Jokerless, the Jokerless run. You could get the boss blind that disables all your cards unless you sell a Joker, and you obviously can't sell a Joker. Some people still beat it regardless, but I mean, that's not in the principle, that's not in the spirit of the challenge, I'm sure, and the developer agrees. So that's just some, some obvious stuff there. Nothing to worry about. Straights are buffed, they give more moat. This is huge. I've been in, they already give a lot of chips, by the way, straights. They just didn't give as much moat. This is, you still need, I think, one more push towards building decks about straights, which is some sort of wild card for rank instead of for what do you call that? So this idea also on the same subreddit was that you can have a wild card that instead of for suits, it could be like any rank or within a certain range, something like that, because otherwise it's way too difficult, because you can build your deck around a flush very easily. You can convert all your cards to like a heart, you can destroy non-hearts, but what are you supposed to do? You can maybe build around the middle of your deck, because then those can produce the most straights, whereas a 2 can only produce like a straight from the bottom end, or maybe you'll need like a 7 because it's in the middle or something like that. Like, it's difficult to think about what's the right idea to build a deck around straights. Although it is technically, I think, statistically more likely at the beginning if you're on the base deck to get a straight than a flush, right? If I'm doing my mental math right, or the theory, whatever, right? I saw a post about it. And I've already had I've had 1 or 2 successful straight runs even before this buff. I think it just makes it more tempting to try it, which is the important thing, because then you can have a lot more fun trying new things. Same thing for straight flush. On the checker deck, straight flush, you can actually build around very easily, and it's actually quite fun. So I recommend you try that now as well. Flush 5 and Flush House, they did seem very underwhelming, because you kind of, it's a hand that you can't really build, obviously, so you feel like it should be more powerful than it is, and I think that just makes a lot of sense. Here are the buffs that really make things crazy. Uncommon tag makes an uncommon Joker free. Insane change. Rare tag, same for negative, polychrome, holo, and foil. This basically means there's no reason, unless you're playing to upgrade your deck, or you have so much interest that you want packs or something like that. Skipping for a holo, skipping for a polychrome, skipping for a rare, it just all makes sense. It makes high stake run so much easier and so much more playable, because if you get like a holo tag, you don't need to ruin your economy just to get, because you skip and you're thinking this is a cool alternate effect, but it also costs more money, so it's kind of compounds the joy you just got from skipping for an holo Joker or something like that, especially for negative Jokers, because they're so expensive. If you skip for a negative Joker and then you can't afford it, what's the point, right? I think this just makes the temptation to skip much more reasonable, and it was already so good to skip for like a holo Joker early in the game, so that you're guaranteed value regardless of what the Joker is, because you want to buy it anyway because it's plus 10, and that's going to carry you through like the first 2 stakes if you play your hands right. So I think this is just a great change. Free stuff in the shop is pretty much what everyone loves. Investment gives you 25 instead of 15. I don't think you needed this, but I think what they're trying to do is overall make the economy a little bit more manageable, which is fair. It's pretty hard to manage the economy at the minute. It's especially, I can sympathize if you're a new player to the game, you don't understand how important it is to manage like your money, and then your interest builds your money, and then you can buy the packs every time and change your deck and so on and so on. People who are struggling to get to like anti-8, stuff like that, I can see this being really impactful for them, because then you can just get a free rare Joker and then, have a bit more fun, even if you don't get all the way. So onto some actual balance changes so we can actually talk about this. 8 ball, which I believe if your hand contained a pair of 8s, you got a arrow card or a planet card. I think it was a planet card. So now it's a 1 in 4 chance when any play data is scored to spawn a Taro, which seems pretty reasonable. Seems fine. I wouldn't guaranteed pick it, but it seems like the kind of thing where if you're building a deck around, let's say you're building like a campfire deck, and then you had like a 5 of a kind 8s going on, you could consider 8-ball, and it would be an interesting investment. Blue Seal is now more reliable. I thought it worked like this already, but I was just gaslighting myself. It creates a planning card of the final Pokemon played during the round, so you can actually plan around, you know, keeping a Blue Seal and then playing the hand that you want to upgrade. It makes scaling way more reasonable. If you don't get a planet cards in the shop by any mean, you can control your luck a bit more. Mad and Clever Joker no longer does 4 of a kind, and now this is where I haven't read most of these now. Previously, I've read pretty much up to here. It's no longer a 4 of a kind conditional. Now it's a 2-pair conditional. That seems like a crazy buff, because those 4 of a kind Jokers were just not usable. Apart from the 4X one, which is so much value that you can justify building your deck around it, but I think they're trying to make 2-pair a bit better, because 2-pair right now, it feels kind of, you know, there's good ways to do it, but scaling the 2-pair itself, you only get 1 mode each time, you know. So having some Jokers that make it reasonable to play them is fair. Yorick, which I believe after 23 discards, it was gain like 10x mode or something, 13, I forget what it was, this is not very relevant. New effect is gains X1 moat every 23 cards discarded. So if you start with 4 discards or 3 discards on higher stakes, this basically means if you play on average, I would say every 2, depends on if you're playing like a flush or if you don't want, you always want to discard more if you're getting Yorick, obviously. So assuming that you discard let's say 4x5, let's say 16. How should I mathematically make this reasonable? You're gonna gain X1 moat probably twice per ante if you're doing it right. Because you can't, unless you buy more discards, you would need to take 2. But then in the other one, you'll be able to overload it to the next one and so on. It'll be on average a bit more. You can do the math yourself, but sometimes you obviously don't need to discard the whole time, and you may want to save it or whatever, you know. Or you may not be able to discard all the cards because you have like a flush build and you can't discard 5. So overall, I think this makes it like a long-term legendary Joker as well, and it scales so much crazily. Like now it feels like it matches the Scaly with face card destruction legendary Joker, which is crazy. Magician Tarot now gets 2 lucky cards. I use just a great effect. Lucky cards are a lot of fun, and I think it just makes sense to get more of them because they don't give you a guaranteed effect in the first place. Getting 1 lucky card did feel like a bit of a robbery. 2 lucky cards, it's less reasonable on the first instance than Molt, but if you have the all 6s, the luck increaser Joker, or you have a multi-trigger Joker, it's just more and more valuable. It just makes the game more fun. All of these changes are making the game more fun, in my opinion. Midas Mask, which is it gave played face cards gold enhancement, now just makes them only scoring and increases. It was a bit broken. You'll get so much money so quickly, but you would need to already have a good hand, so otherwise you wouldn't need to run it. But anyway, okay, now Madness got nerfed. No longer works on boss blind selection, which is, I would say unnecessary, because in the higher difficulties, well, it depends actually, because it actually has a niche in later stakes because your Eternal Jokers can't get destroyed. But this means it can only increase a maximum of 1x per, what do you call it, ante, which is, I think, fair. I think that's fair. But I also think that given that it destroys an entire Joker and you can't control which Joker it destroys, it's kind of, you know, I don't think they needed to nerf it that much. It was already pretty annoying. To-do list now it's random and it doesn't stick until you play the payout hand, which is good because your previous strategy would be if the to-do list is on an easy to play hand, then buy, otherwise you're never going to play it, so it's fine. So that's reasonable, and you can actually keep it around a bit more longer. Joker description change, fair enough. I struggled to figure out how this worked when I first played, so it's reasonable. Ancient Joker now can't repeat between rounds. This is probably good because people got confused with, including me, whether or not the Ancient Joker, which is the one, the Mouth Joker, if you know the reference, because I don't. I wasn't that old. Where it multiplies certain suits at played card hand by 1.5 each time, you know? Like if you have a diamond suit and it's on diamonds, then it goes 1.5 per each diamond on mult times 1.5, which is crazy, especially if you can re-trigger cards. But when it stayed on the same suit, it did confuse people because it doesn't show like an animation of changing. You know? So it's good to see. Swashbuckler is now independent of positioning, which is perfect, by the way, because it just means that you don't need to worry about putting it to the left of like a mult card, you know. It means positioning is reasonable. Hanging Chat buff. I already use Hanging Chat, so this is a perfect buff. Re-triggers twice instead of once. This is probably very, very good. In fact, I would say this is a must. Now it becomes a must by early game, because if you get like a mult card or a bonus card, you can just get insane effects early game with this. It's already so good, in my opinion. Flowerpot now includes a base suit of debuffed cards. Okay, I see what this means. Basically, if a card is debuffed, then it will still trigger if the condition is valid. So this Flowerpot gives you a multiplier if you play a hand with all 4 suits. So I guess this is fair. Because otherwise, if the boss blind disables your card, then it doesn't trigger, and you're like, but that's a spade. It's not a spade. Anyway, bootstraps give you information. Yeah, you don't have to divide by 5 times by 2. All sinful jokers now give +3 instead of +4. That's probably reasonable because those were a must-buy early game. It would make playing flushes way too easy, because you just get +20 depending on your flush. And so you just play flushes. So I think this is reasonable. Banner nerf, probably not necessary, given that you probably need discards to play properly. Which is, you know, tactical decision. But I didn't like banner because although it is powerful, you end up not being able to discard. And then you kind of, you know, that's the whole game mechanic that I like. You know, what do you need to discard? What hand do you want to play? It works if you're playing like a pair or 2-pair based run where you don't want to need to discard as frequently, but it's a non-issue. Now it's not a must-buy anymore, because early game it would give you like 120 chips. If you had some more and some chips, you could just play high card and get on with the chips. It was too easy. So you know what? Fair enough. Fibonacci buff made the price more expensive because Fibonacci. I mean, that's a non-issue. It was probably worth $8 anyway. It's a powerful card. Steel Joker nerf times 0.2 instead of 0.025. Minor nerf, but it's fair. It's fair. You can build up steel cards before getting Steel Joker, and then you can get a big boost already. Odd Todd +1 because odd, reasonable. Change 6 cents, made it $6 for the meme. It's a pretty bad card, in my opinion. It doesn't change the fact that I think it's a pretty bad card. Buffing Hiker is crazy, by the way. 6 cents if you didn't know. If your first hand is a 6, destroy it and get a spectral card. It's kind of like Seance and Superposition in the way that they're just too conditional and the payout is too little, and it's too RNG based. It's just there's too many steps to go through to do something where why would you do that? You know what I mean? In my opinion, at least. Hiker getting +5 instead of +4 is crazy, especially because Hikers was already so good if you had any way of re-triggering cards. Like for example, Hanging Chad with Hiker means that if you want to buff up one specific kind of card, if you want to get your aces stacked with chips, you can do it. Now it's going to trigger even more times. Things gone crazy in Balatro. Well, Hiker would be an even more must pick. It's already a must pick in my opinion early game, unless you're running low or you're struggling already. It's a must pick if you're already afloat. If you're not afloat, then it will never give you instant value. But you know what I mean. Gross Mikhail, the disappearing banana now disappears a bit less. 1 in 4 did seem a bit blatant, but it won't change the fact that people will get triggered every time it gets destroyed instantly, which was just fine. Speaking of Seance, they did the same change. It doesn't change the fact that it sucks in my opinion. Straight Flush gives you Spectral card. It's just, I mean, unless you're playing a Straight Flush build on the checkered deck, this is never really gonna happen. Riff is now $6. Yeah, $4 for basically 4 jokers for free by selecting blinds. and being able to sell those jokers every time and get more, it pays for itself immediately. So it felt reasonable to do so. Vagabond is now rare, costs more, and the leniency on the limit is changed. That's probably fair. You could get insane value from Vagabond if you kept spending all your money. And people like spending money, so it kind of goes hand in hand. But this won't change the fact that it's a very good card still, in my opinion. But I don't play with it very often because I like interest in getting a lot of money. Buff on, basically a increase in price of things that give you money, which is fair because they give you money. They shouldn't be so cheap. They shouldn't pay for themselves as easily, I think is the point. Pay for trading card, so Cloud9 million rebate, trading card, all things that give you money. Lucky Cat, better. So they're trying to make you more. I think they also look at play rates of cards and stuff like that. Because Lucky Cat, I've seen it and I've never once picked it up. Because unless you build a whole deck of Lucky cards, which you can now, that Lucky cards are 2 per thing, by the way. This is an insane buff now that I think about it. Because, for example, let's say you're hanging chat up front, doubles or triples the trigger, right? Normally just triggers once, 2 times more on top of that. Lucky cards are now a dime a dozen. You can get 2 lucky cards from 1 tarot card. All I'm saying is Lucky Cat may be worth getting. It may be worth getting. If you have Lucky Cat and you have the dice roll buff, you could be cooking because you could be gaining a lot of moat. But it is unreliable. So who knows? Campfire half. I mean, this is perfectly reasonable. Campfire was too broken. It gave you too many options, especially with the economy of scale. You know what I mean? Smiley face buff. It's already pretty restrictive to only buff face cards. It's worse than the suit Joker moat givers, which have been nerfed. So you know what? I played around with smiley faces. You could keep it around a much longer. You can play like full face card full houses and get insane value. Golden ticket buff. Golden ticket seems like an unnecessary Joker. You may need a golden ticket like Joker in the later stakes of now because you have the perishable or the rental Jokers which cost money, so you may need to get money. But it still seems kind of useless to me. Bloodstone is now 1 in 2. This is insane, by the way. 1 in 2 chance is absolutely cracked. If you combine this with luck increase, if you combine this with any sort of duplication, like, it just means that your heart builds are gonna go insane. I had a run with Bloodstone already. It goes absolutely crazy mode. I recommend you pick it up after this. It was already pretty powerful, but it's just, 1 in 3, 1 in 2. You know the math, basically. Nerf to Onyx Agate. This was deserved because this thing was so powerful. You could pick it up and just play clubs pretty much until the end of the anti-8. Glass Joker. Glass Joker is a tricky one because the cards that need to be played for it to buff will no longer be able to be played once the activation of the effect takes place. You know what I mean? It's not like the Steel Joker, it's not like the Lucky Cat, because you need the cards to be destroyed. So how can you make more of them? It should probably be ×1, in my opinion, because they're not even guaranteed to break when you play them. This buff should be even more, in my opinion. But you know what? I'll give it a try, potentially, but we'll see. Stuntman nerf is reasonable. It was too broken. It felt like even if you didn't play around Stuntman, as long as you weren't playing a 5-card hand, you would just buy a Stuntman because 250 chips is like, it's enough to get through anti-8 easily. Most of this stuff doesn't really work to, endless mode, because you can't really balance around endless mode unless something immediately breaks the game, in my opinion. Let endless mode balance itself by just being crazy, because only crazy stuff works past like anti-11, because that's like E and billion, all that nonsense. So there's no reason to balance around that, in my opinion. So it's a reasonable one. Invisible Joker, easier to activate and cheaper. 3 rounds was crazy for an Invisible Joker, in my opinion. $10. It could have stayed $10 because duplication is something you can control. But I mean, this definitely means you would pick it up earlier if you get it, in hopes of duplicating something crazy. That's pretty much it. But Burn Joker was already really powerful, makes it rare. That's fair, especially given that now you can skip a rare, get a rare tag and get a free one. Increases the odds. Wording change and fix the bug. I believe they also nerfed flushes, if I'm thinking about this correctly. Let me check. Let me check the Discord. Bear with me. Balatro. From local stuff. I don't believe they included this in the balance changes, but I do believe they nerfed it. Unless I'm crazy. Yes, I do believe they did nerf it. But in any case, let's not play Balatro. Let's have a, you know, how about you try it out for yourself and let me know what's going on here. There's even more nerfs? Hold on. If I can find more nerfs, I will continue to read them because I'm looking for the nerfs. Balance patches. There's more going on. Hold on, I'll find it. Okay, I can't find it, but there apparently is a vampire nerf and a flush nerf, but vampire is apparently just dead. It's just 0.1x and 0.2x instead of whatever. We can in fact just look at the collection here and see it. Where is it? Gold stake sticker. Where are you? And I'm looking for the vampire joker. Where is it? I probably scored pass already, didn't I? There needs to be a search function here, man. There it is. Never mind. 0.1x per scoring card enhancement. Hey, I've already got the gold stake sticker on it. So, you know, it's not a big deal at all. You can nerf it all you want. Although apparently there is a challenge with it, so maybe you don't do. Maybe I should do the challenge on the old patch and then do it on the new patch. But in any case, the latter 5 minutes of this video was just gonna be waffling. But if anyway, you go check out the balance patches in the game, in the beta, and give your feedback. Not me, but the developer and the community, and we'll see what happens. I'm enjoying the active future for Balatro, you know, and yeah, enjoy.